Happy weekend, everybody, and it's time for the weekend review. I hope everyone is staying warm. We are getting so much snow here in Indiana. We probably have 16 inches of snow. I haven't left the house in 2 days. As you can see, I'm still in my jammies, and so I figured I would go ahead and bust out this weekend review so we could talk. First, I want to get into what happened with the trade plan on Friday. We'll keep it real short, and then boom, right into the weekend review. So let's get right to it. As we know, we had a monster sell-off on Friday after price ended up breaking our main daily leg that we just gained to 68.91. They came all the way down and swept the lows, but not a surprise, they came all the way down into our 68.0550 daily, which we have talked about more times than once. This is a monster level that is holding up this whole structure, and like I've repeated many times, we are bullish as long as we are above this line. They came down and they hit the 68.0550 perfectly again for a test. We had a large put wall at 68.04, and we had this area at 68.08 that I was watching. And as you can see in here, this was an area that I actually like this a lot. Watch for this level to play, immediately get back above 68.09 and 68.13 for continuation. The 68.1350 was the daily. We came down here and played this area. We immediately got long in here, and this actually played for 50 points all the way up to our daily at 68.5725 for a perfect touch of a daily to daily of 50 points. That was a phenomenal trade. VIX also gave us the insight as we opened the day at our 1493 daily. I have talked about this level so many times. I said that we have only one untested level of resistance underneath the 1573 weekly and 1541 daily. That was the daily at 1493. This provided an insane reaction and popped us all the way up past our 1721 daily until we've come back down. And our analysis once again proved that that was the floor that we were sitting on, and it has not yet provided a reaction. Obviously, we were looking for one, which is beautiful, and at that reaction, if we push above this weekly here at 1573, we need to watch the 1721 daily, which is essentially where we got to, and a little bit higher, but ultimately that ended up pulling us back down. So that was a fantastic trade. The confluence both the drop for the ES and the pop off the daily from the VIX was a beautiful alignment there, which should have gave everybody the confidence to not only take the short or not take a long once you saw price coming down and VIX going, and then ultimately the pullback underneath the 1721 was good for the long on the ES, which played for 50 points as VIX pulled back down. As you can see here, here's the VIX, but myself as always is leading the team. You can see I was long above the 1350 daily that we talked about. Looks like my average was 68.12ish or 68.1381, excuse me. We came down in here and played this area, and I was able to take targets all the way up. We were looking for it to clean the singles up into 47, which they in fact did. And I was hoping for a little higher, but it was what it was. Even was able to put up about $3,000 here with an average of 68.14. We came right up into this major put wall, which I was using as confluence here. And then as you can see, this was a big spot where ultimately I took most of my profits at 68.43. This was actually the high before we pulled back about 20 points to poke up and come into the VWAP area right around 47, 48. I believe they came up into the 50s. But this was a great, I had a runner on from 68.16. This was a great trade, and as you can see, the 43 was a great exit here. So as usual, the trade plan came through, and if it's in the trade plan, I'm taking it. So wanted to show you guys that before we moved on, and let's go ahead and get into the weekend review. As usual, I always start with the weekly market profile. And last week, again, as you can see, we have just balanced again. However, last week was interesting. We not only poked a new high, but we also poked a new low on Friday from the week. It's basically breaking both sides of the weekly range, which was pretty incredible considering the way we started off was a little slow. Again, these are huge overlapping values, even though we poked highs and lows. So ultimately, we can actually put this together because this is all relatively the same range. And you can just see a massive balance area here that is just very pronounced. And it's pretty obvious, where we need to get above to break out on the 76. And things start to get a little weak underneath our current price right about this 26 area. which we'll soon get into when we get into the charts. We still do have a weekly inefficiency of the singles all the way down to 86 from the weekly profile on 11/23. This is a very possible opportunity to get cleaned up. However, on the opposite side of the spectrum, on the daily profile, we have singles all the way up to 68.85, which need to be cleaned up. So higher time frame has singles lower, lower time frame has singles higher. Both are market inefficiencies, and both will more than likely need to get cleaned up at some point in time. So that is how I'm looking at all this as of right now. Coming into the candlesticks here, we've got our weekly candles and our daily candles, and these actually look significantly different as far as support that was gained versus the SPX. We're going to pay attention to these two charts for now. As you can see, they still could not close above on the weekly for the weekly leg higher. They had 2 attempts and couldn't get the job done, which makes me a little concerned, but not insanely concerned. SPX did close higher. SPX is telling us we basically need a new high, and they got so close. And I will tell you this, I looked at SPY as well. They came within like a few dollars of making a new all-time high. So we got very, very, very close. Really interesting, the discrepancies here. But once again, the 68.05, looking at the daily, has literally been what's holding this structure up, as we've talked about so many times before. Right now, we are looking essentially at 68.13. This is our true daily leg to the high right now. As of right now, we have not lost that support. Yes, we wicked below it. Yes, we played 68.05. And we have started to lose some support on the daily and 4-hour time frames as of Friday, which is a little concerning. So it leads me to believe that we could go either way. However, all this is still contained within the 13, and I do believe that we can still potentially move higher. We really just have our big make it or break it level, which is our 68.05, and really 68.13 as well, which I'll show you when I go into the lower time frames. If they do push below 68.05, we do have this very large weekly down here at 68.77. It's this previous leg tip. We also have the singles that run down to 86. So let's not forget that. 50-day moving average is here, so it's the 20-day moving average. This could be a nice pullback into this particular area. It's played multiple times from the bottom up and the top down, so we don't want to ignore this spot. 88.50 was huge for us on the way up, and there's no reason it won't be big for us on the way down. However, if they do insist on pushing lower, we do have a weekly at 61 over here, and we have 68 on the ETH, and we also have this daily top down at 65, which is the leg that we gained when we came up. This was our leg down, and this is untested from the top down right now, and I would absolutely look for this to play on first touch. I love 65, get back above 68 and buy this thing. This looks pretty good. So this is the worst case scenario, guys, if we come down. I don't see this market falling out right now. I just don't. Doesn't mean that it can't, and it won't, but I didn't chart any lower than basically 46. So I don't see it happening, and if I'm wrong, I could be wrong. Anything can happen. But for right now, this is where we're going to kind of keep it, because I still do truly believe that this can continue to march higher, but we will see how it goes on early next week. As usual, I love coming over to the 4-hour time frame. This kind of gives us a really clear picture of what's cooking here. And as you can see, let me pull this down a little bit. Sorry, I was trying to get the formatting looking good there. Okay, so we did lose the 4-hour leg to the high. This is truly our daily leg up at 13, but once again, lost the daily leg to the high. We do have some weakness here, guys. There's no question about it. However, as long as they stay above 68.05, I am still looking to get long. We actually played this beautiful long, like I told you guys about, the 68.08.05 that was long over 13. We basically played it for 50 points into the 57, which was a huge trade. This is going to be our big above below now if we continue to move higher. Okay, this is our previous weekly value area low, value area high, and POC. We basically want to get stay above the previous weekly value area low, get back in here, and if we can push and hold above 57, we have a chance of moving higher. Right now there is a untested 4-hour level at 61, as you can see, and I would look for this area to potentially get a reaction, and if it does, fall back below 57 for a potential short play. However, if they accept price above 57, we could push into the 72, which, as you guys know from many times over, has been very big, both top and bottom, playing this, and so we need to watch out for resistance here. And then as we push in higher, we still have the big major daily leg down once again that we lost, which was big so many times, both top and down, 68.91 and the 4 hour at 93. This is a major resistance area. A push above this would more than likely continue our move higher. And then again, obviously, as you can see, we have the 69.0775, which is a 4 hour ETH daily, which is technically untested. And I would watch for a reaction up there as well. But our real main area that we're watching, our true blue pivot, which turned out to be, once again, very important on Friday, is the 68.91. The moment they gained it and got below it, it was just over with. So, you know, if they hold these lows, we can walk right back up, clean up those singles all the way up to 68.65, 68.85. And if not, if they can't get any higher, we're going to come down here and test some of this major support here. So there's only two directions they can take it. We're still in balance. We're still above 68.05. We did lose technically on the 4 hour, and I guess you could say technically we've lost on the daily time frame as well, even though all this is contained within this larger move. I have to default to the trend still, which is up, but I'm certainly being cautious simply just because of my process. And I do know above 68.05 we're going to continue to march up. And let me just go ahead and show you what this looks like here as well. I'm going to go ahead and pull over the 1 hour time frame just so you can get an idea of what we're talking about. So as you can see, this is the same area once again. We held this area, and as long as we can continue to stay above these wicks and these 68.1350 daily and really 68.05, this actually, we'll see where we open at, but as long as this can percolate down here all of Sunday into the Monday open, we could get a nice squeeze right back up and basically just reclaim everything that we lost. So don't be surprised if we start to get a big push on Monday and we come all the way back up into the 91 spot. Don't forget, we actually have the singles all the way up to 85, which is about right here, which runs directly into our weekly level at 68.83. Okay, so I actually think this level is somewhat tested, which is why I've just left it as gray. I'm trying to keep the minimal lines down as much as possible and just show you what's untested for sure and what is important. And so right here, it's basically above 57. We've got 61.75. We got a daily at 72, and then also the daily 4 hour at 91.25 and 93. So that is what I'm looking like for more up, guys. We just got to hold this through Monday, and we should push up quite nicely. If not, we will more than likely come down and check our 88, which would clean the singles up into these big major moving averages. So I'd watch for a reaction here. And just remember, a push below this 05, we are looking to reclaim 05, right? No matter what happens, no matter how far down we go, the moment we get back above 05, 60, 68, 05, this thing's going to be juking back to the upside. So again, we could come down into the 65, 61 area, pop back up, but they're really going to trigger the extreme long once we lose and regain 68.05 and ultimately 68.13. So just keep an eye on it for tomorrow. And that's kind of my thesis, guys. We've seen this happen 100 times. They come down, they distribute here, they accept value, we push right back up. They could even squeeze right back up the same day, giving us a nice 100-point, 70-point pop. Who knows? But, worst case scenario, we lose 05 and stay below 1350. We're going to come down to our lower areas and start to clean up some of this stuff. So it's that simple. That's what I got for you. Kept it nice and clean and easy. And so we will see what happens when we open on Monday. I will see you guys in the Discord room who are members in there. And for those of you who aren't, I will be doing the post-market breakdown on Monday at 5 p.m. Hope to see you there. And I'll see you guys in the room tomorrow. So be good, cheers, and have an excellent, excellent rest of your weekend. And stay warm. Adios.